Welcome everyone to another episode of Pokemon Go. This is the first time I'm doing it with this. I'm mirroring my phone, which I'm not sure what. I get really bad signal in my apartment for some reason. So I'm not sure why. It'll occasionally say GPS off, but this is the first time I'm recording my phone onto my computer, so it's mirroring my phone onto my computer, so I could record it, so I could do this face cam that you guys wanted me to do. It's going to be a little bit delayed, just because I wanted a little bit higher quality of a video. If I'm looking down a lot, know that I'm still trying to get used to this all. But welcome to my channel. This video is to show my 100 max level 40 Pokemon, and the fact that I still have 10 million dust. So I thought that was kind of a cool accomplishment, and it was inspired by another post in the 40 club, where one individual had 120 maxed out Pokemon. So I thought that was pretty cool. So hopefully this GPS signal on and off goes away occasionally. Actually, it's really just part of right by where my computer is, so perhaps I should move my computer. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly go over these 100 level 40 Pokemon, talk a little bit about them. Some of them I'll sweep over just because they're pretty similar, same type of Pokemon. But where I can, I'll tell you some stories behind it. So obviously this is Groudon, Dragon Tail, Solar Beam it has, and obviously I caught it in Toronto on December 31st, 2017. So kind of a fun raid to do, and I really like doing Groudon. Groudon was probably one of the easiest raid bosses to throw at, but super powerful. I wish ground Pokemon had a little bit better of a moveset. And then obviously this is my second 100% Groudon, which I caught on December 16th, 2017. So kind of a fun one to do. Kind of like, I think this is the first weekend that I went raiding after my quote-unquote retirement. So that was a kind of a fun gift to come back to. This is Kyogre. I forget which one this is. Okay, this is the... Oh, yeah, this is the older one. So a little bit of background. I actually got a 100% encounter and 100% Kyogre in London, Ontario, when I was doing some raids there with Steve and Melissa. Steve's from London. Melissa's from Detroit, Michigan. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll know who she is. She's also making big moves in this game, so she's definitely a person to watch in terms of if you really want to watch high-level trainers going forward. So this was like my redemption Kyogre. I remember I was really nervous, and I actually had dropped one ball because that's how nervous I was. So when I finally got it, it was a pretty amazing feeling. And this is another Groudon that I powered up. Again, I'm not going to talk too much about these ones because these ones are already, nothing too special. Obviously, they're ones I got in raids. I actually had a really terrible Kyogre time where I had lost at one point in time, or no, even now, I had lost a Hundo Kyogre really early on, and then 215 attack 98. So those were pretty devastating. Again, I'm not going to talk too much about these ones. This one here, I powered up. It's a 14 attack 98. This is special for two reasons. First reason, this was our first non-weather boosted trio of Kyogre using Raikou that I did with Scotty and David Chang, both from Toronto. Really great guys I raid with a lot, and we trioed it with a really good time. I think like 20 seconds left. It was a lot of fun. I believe it was the first non-weather boosted trio in the world. Obviously my girlfriend Kato Nolan did the first trio in the world. I was extremely proud of her. With weather boosted, but this was a fun one to do. So I caught it, and the second reason I was special, or was going to be special, was because I was intending. The reason why I was in London, Ontario, I was intending to trio Groudon with no weather boosts using Kyogre and Gyarados. Unfortunately, fell a little bit short. If you look on my YouTube channel, you'll see a video where we were about 15-16 seconds ahead with 25% of the health left, but unfortunately we just didn't have enough DPS at the end. But still, it was kind of a fun journey, and even if you fail at these challenges, they're still very memorable and inspire you to keep going and to do more challenging stuff. Another Groudon, not going to talk too much about this one. This one is a Mewtwo. Obviously, this is my first Mewtwo that I got after, I think, 3,800 raids that I did. It's 93% with, I think it's like 14, 12, 15 or something like that. And yeah, it was very, very inspiring. And yeah, and it was nerve-wracking in the sense that I was doing it on live stream, and I'd never thrown at Mewtwo, and I don't really play on my Android. I typically play on my iPhone, and but you can't really live stream it on an iPhone, so I was live streaming on my Android, and unfortunately it was very difficult to throw at, or I wasn't really used to it. And then I think I had like 5 balls left, and I had like a bunch of people watching. It was very nerve-wracking. Obviously, this is dedicated to my lovely girlfriend, Kato Nolan, so shout out to her. Then this is the Ho-Oh. This is Ho-Oh. I was very fortunate to get. I believe I retired temporarily on December 1st, so you can see this is a couple of days beforehand. This is when Melissa was in town, and we were doing a bunch of Ho-Ohs and suicunes, and it was really, I remember I was like, oh, I'm not overly fussed about getting it because you know, Ho-Oh is not super meta, but actually Ho-Oh was super helpful against Solar Beam Groudon, so it was a fun one to do. Unfortunately, this GPS not found is very annoying. So anyways, this is now we're going to get into 6 Tyrannotars. So this Tyranitar I caught in Vaughan, Ontario. I remember after work it had spawned, like immediately right after work, around like 5:30 or something like that. It spawned in Toronto, and it was all the way in Vaughan, which is quite the distance. And I rushed over. I remember got there with like a minute left, and there's only like 2 other cars that got in. And I was all hyped up and excited about it. And it actually relates to my next one, which was in Brampton, Ontario, which was caught the day after. And I remember we were in like downtown Toronto. I was with my friend Ryan. We were catching. I actually just picked him up, and we were catching. So you know, this is during the rock event, and then we were catching a bunch of Larvatars, the second bunch of candy. As you can see, I have a decent amount of candy considering I powered up 6. And I remember he's like, oh, 98% Larvitar in Scarborough, but it was low level, so I was like, oh, let's not bother going for it. Then there was 100% Larvitar, which is this one, all the way in Brampton. I'm like, oh, there's no way we're gonna make it from downtown Toronto, but it ended up being an hour spawn, and we rushed over, and we got it with like good margin of time, but it was still quite the distance to travel for it. But it was like, those things are fun and rewarding, and all that stuff. And then these are just some 98% ones that I caught in you know, various places. I think this one I caught. Yeah, for some reason I was walking in. I can't remember why. Oh, well, I caught this one early on. Oh, maybe I hatched this one. I definitely hatched this one. 98% very early on in Generation 2. So that was a kind of a fun one to do, and I evolved it very early on to help complete my deck. So that's kind of a cool one to have. And so another Tyranitar. Another Tyranitar. So this one I caught as like a level 30 or level 29. With a couple of my friends, actually. I believe Steve Carr was there, Victoria from Toronto, Ben from Toronto, and a few other people. Like lots of fun, and you know, these Pokemon bring back memories of times I've played with my friends. So that was kind of cool. And this is my Lugia. I remember I had actually caught this Lugia about 20 raids after my first 100% legendary, which is Zapdos. I remember, like, Lugia, you had to do a big group because they're very annoying to battle. Especially we didn't have Raikou back then. So it's very challenging to fight. So you go in these big groups. I remember I had like 8 balls, and this is the only time I ever had 100% legendary and didn't tell anyone. Just because I was terrible at throwing a Lugia because we had done so few of them. And it's kind of like a weird angle to throw at. And I had caught it, and I was all really excited and hyped up about it. These are some Dragonites that I caught. Out in Mississauga, 100% ones. There's also another 100% level 41. I wish I had a Dragon Breath, Dragon Claw, more so for the novelty of it. Functionally, for what I use, Dragon Tail Outrage is better for me. Oh, okay. My screen is disable or gone to screensaver. Okay, and then this is 100% entei. I powered this one up to do the, I think it was a 6 fire Pokemon against Alakazam, so it was a fun one to do. And I remember, I'm trying to think, I had encountered 200% enteis. My second one ran, but this is my first one. It was very exciting to get it, because entei, even though I like Moltres better, entei is still a very good Pokemon to have. Fire Spin, Overheat, really tanky, great Pokemon. 100% Raikou. This is probably my prize 100% catch. I remember because I knew that Raikou was good, mostly because of Thunder Shock, Wild Charge, very quite a tanky Pokemon as well. And I remember, as you can see here, I caught it decently early on because I think Raikou was in September in the Americas. I think this is the first weekend. I remember remember being really nervous. Actually, one of my videos that I posted on my channel has this 100% Raikou. So it was a really fun and exciting one. I ended up doing like 600 Raikou raids. I only saw one 100%. So I'm very fortunate that I caught it, and in fact I encountered it. And then these next couple ones are my team of Raikous, which I really enjoyed using against Suicune. Obviously, I trioed Suicune with Landon and Chris from Buffalo, and that was kind of a really fun one. I talk about this as one of my memories where even though I talk with Landon and Chris a lot on Twitter, more so Landon, we had never actually played together. Like every time I went to Buffalo, he was busy or quote unquote avoiding me. I'm joking, Landon. And then this is the first time we intentionally played with each other, so it's kind of cool to set what I believe is the fastest Suicune trio, which is actually quite a difficult one to trio because it is quite tanky and very annoying to deal with. So I powered up 6 Raikou for that, and as well as very useful for Suicune. So for me, I always like having the best lineup possible against these legendary raid bosses, mostly because I have so much dust and resources that I want to set a good example for my team, especially when we're raiding. It's important to have good lineups. So these other Suicunes I powered up. Unfortunately, not Suicunes, Raikous. Unfortunately, my Raikous are not the greatest, even though I did a decent amount. I only counted the 100% and then no 15 attack 98. So I powered up 3 14 attack 98s, mostly because the damage output between a 14 and 15 attack at level 40 against Suicune was exactly the same, which is what I was using for. I didn't envision that Kyogre was going to come out soon, but I imagine the damage output is probably pretty similar, if not the same. So again, these are some Raikous, and then a Rhydon. I have 6 maxed out Rhydon. These were kind of like fun ones to do, in the sense that I didn't, after the birds, I had no idea that Raikou and the rest of the legendary beasts were coming. So like all these 100%, Rhyhorns are spawning in Toronto, and I never bothered getting them because I'm like, oh, they spawn so often. Whenever Raikou comes out, I'll just go and get them, or I'm sure I'll know way in advance. And then it popped, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I only have 200% ones. I remember like just going out and chasing them and spending a lot of time and effort, but they were really useful for Raikou raids, and I don't regret powering them up at all, because for me, I had so much dust and I accumulate so much dust during the month that it wasn't really that big a deal. And we almost trioed Raikou with just Rhydons with Joash and Leo, which are 2 instinct players in Toronto, very great players. But so I have no regrets powering them up, and Rhydon evolves into Rhyperior, and if it gets double rock moves, then it'll be definitely a really good Pokemon to consider going forward, and that'll be in Gen 4. Then I powered up, I powered up 7 Gyaradoses. I powered up the initial 6 Gyaradoses with Waterfall Hydro Pump, and that's to go and deal with Groudon raids, which was very useful. Like it was basically the best choice, except for when Groudon had Solar Beam. And then I powered up a 7th one to try to do that Groudon trio with no weather boost with Melissa, because we basically had to go in. I basically had to use like roughly 8 Pokemon. So I was going to use my 1 Kyogre and my 7 Gyaradoses to try and trio it, but unfortunately we fell a little bit short, but still really memorable to do. And then Next is, these are all Gyarados, so I'm going to skip over them. And then we'll get to Moltres. So, unfortunately, I did like 120 Moltres, so not a crazy amount for me. In general, that's a crazy amount. But that was like a different time and different mindset that I had. So, unfortunately, I don't have the world's greatest Moltres. This is a good one, 15, 15, 14. 98% with Fire Spin Overheat. Really great Pokemon. Really high DPS, so really good generalist. Flying Fire is double weak to Rock, so that's something to consider as you go into PvP, but still really good Pokemon and is generally the better Fire type out of Moltres and Entei, but there's certainly times when Entei is better. So these are the Moltres. I won't talk too much about them. This is my 100% level 40 Blissey. I caught it as a Chansey during the Valentine's Day event, as you can see here. And it was a lot of fun. We were out grinding by Princess and King, which is typically where we grind. There's a good loop and 4 or 5 stops at a coffee shop on the corner of Princess and King. And I remember it spawned like very late into the night, maybe like 11 o'clock or something like that. And we had rushed over all the way to Mississauga, and we got there with like 1 minute to go, and it was very exciting and a cool Pokemon to get for sure. This is 100% Espeon. I obviously used the name trick on it. It was actually quite a low level one, but I needed more good psychic types when raids came out, so this is the one I powered up, and no regrets, and it's a fun Pokemon to use for sure. Oh. And then I maxed out 200% Gardevoirs. The main reason we're trying to do this is trying to see whether or not we could duo Poliwrath, and as well, Gardevoirs are really great Pokemon to put in gym in as a defender. It's Fairy Psychic typing, makes it double resistant fighting, so it's kind of a cool Pokemon to have. This is my 100% Heracross that I got down in Jensen Beach / Stewart. When I was in Florida, I was with Casey, and Casey pulled all sorts of maneuvers to get this for us, and did a lot of hopping. That's all I'll say, and it was kind of a rewarding one to get because this is close to the end of our trip. And I went down with Victoria and Brent, and we had a blast. And shout out to Casey for being really great hosts, and I really enjoyed my time down there. Definitely be back at some point in time. Then I powered up 600% Articunos, not 100%, 6 maxed out Articunos, and most of this is to help me deal with Rayquaza raids and different duel challenges. And I really like Articuno. I think it's like probably the second best bird out there. Unfortunately, Zapdos, part of my team, is not doing so hot in the usefulness category, but really, really good Pokemon. Frostbreath, Ice Beam, very tanky against Outrage, so really great Pokemon to have. So it's kind of cool to have. I accidentally put 2 extra candy in for whatever reason. I wasn't paying attention to this, so you'll see here. I have decent Articunos. This is a 14 attack one, but it was 98%. The rest of mine are like 96 or 98% ones. So I only had one good Articuno run on me, 98 15 attack, but still very good considering how many Articunos I had done. I think it was like 90 or something like that. Then I maxed out 600% Golems. Originally I had 300% Golems, and I went up against Flareon to try to solo it because some people in the 40 club were asking whether or not it was possible, so I said I'd give it a shot. And then I powered up a 400% Golem. I remember actually I was a little embarrassed to talk about this at the time, but what had happened was I didn't have enough candy, Geodude candy, which is crazy to me now because now they're everywhere. Well, not now because obviously this is all Gen 3 spawns, but they were like everywhere. And then I was like, oh, I don't have enough candy. I'm going to dump some rare candy into it. Never tell anybody about it. But it ended up being worth it because then I successfully soloed Flareon the next day, and it was one of the crazy it was a lot of effort to do it, but nowhere near the amount of effort that other people had tried to do it. But I didn't realize like how big a deal it was going to be because there ended up only being 2 people that successfully soloed Flareon. I did solo Flareon with Golems a second time, but unfortunately my screen recording failed on me, or not my screen recording, me recording on my other phone failed on me, so I only have the screenshot, but still a lot of fun. And then I powered up some more for Moltres and for the other birds, Zapdos and whatnot, and really good investment. And I may never use it that functionally going forward again, but still really great option. Actually, it's a decent option against Rayquaza, especially against Ancient Power, because it's quite tanky. So decent option. If you're looking at DPS, then obviously you should look at Ice, but it's quite tanky and resist rock moves and as well as air moves. So it's really good. Lot of fun catching these ones, but now they're everywhere. But still really cool. I powered up 300% Executors with Bullet Seed Solar Beam, and this one actually I hatched. The reason why I powered 3 more up was because we were doing trio of Kyogre in grass, or not in grass, in clear, using just grass Pokemon, and really great Pokemon, and obviously Solar Beam's so OP and does so much damage, so a lot of fun to do that. So I'm going to skip over these next couple Pokemon because they're all Golems and Executors. A lot of them. This is 100% Flareon that I powered up to 40. I had it at level 39, but I put it to 40 just because I wanted, like, more unique fire Pokemon. But still, it was really useful for me at the beginning when I did power it up, when I didn't have Moltres or Entei, because it's still a very high attack stat. I believe higher than Entei. I can take a look at that later. But lower than Moltres, and really good moveset. Fire Spin, Overheat, one of the best movesets. One of the best things that they did for Flareon, for sure. Or the best thing they did. And then I'm gonna skip over these ones, but not skip over. Talking to them briefly is I powered up 700% Machamps. I actually only intended to power up 6, but what I did was I accidentally maxed out my legacy Karate Chop, Cross Chop, which is not that useful in battles. So I had to power up another one. So you'll see here, but really useful, good for Tyranitar raids, good for Agon raids, and good for taking out gyms. So no regrets powering it up. So you can see here I have a decent amount of candy. Actually made the mistake of mass evolving Machops, and then when I need to power up more Machamps for when Melissa came down to Toronto to us do a bunch of raids, I actually had to go and hunt them down, which is a little embarrassing. So I'm more cognizant of what I mass evolve going forward. So here's my legacy one, Karate Chop, Cross Chop. I caught it like a decent amount before Gen 2 came out, but I evolved it before Gen 2, so it's kind of a fun one to have. In reality, I wouldn't max it out again, just because it's not that useful and all this stuff. And then I maxed out 3 Alakazams, mostly because I didn't have Mewtwo at the time, and I wanted to do like pretty good times against like Nidoqueen duos and other duos. So these were fun ones to have. There's obviously one dedicated to my girlfriend. I thought it was very sweet. Unfortunately, it was a male Alakazam, and she was a little bit upset about that. But she still found it very sweet. This is a 96% Scizor. I believe I hatched this one. Yeah, it looks like I hatched it. And at that point in time, like, Scythers were pretty rare in Toronto. Now they're more common. There's been a bunch of 100% since. So I didn't think that I would encounter another higher IV one. And stupidly, I thought I was going to encounter. We'll be invited to a Mewtwo raid earlier than I thought than I actually did. So, but still, no regrets and a lot of fun one to do. I maxed this one out to do the 6 unique against Confusion, Shadow Ball, and then subsequently Confusion, Focus Blast. Pinsir, really good Pokemon, good attack stat, good moveset, Bug Bite, and X Scissor. So really useful bug Pokemon. So I have no regrets, especially doing those fun challenges. And then I maxed out this Hariyama. I actually really like Hariyama. It's kind of a funny looking Pokemon. It does like a funny attack as well. It's quite a tanky version of for a fighting type, and actually really competitive. It is not as useful as Machamp, but still has, for its like much lower attack stat, it certainly makes it up with stamina, which certainly adds to its DPS. So fun one to use. I like using these ones in the 6 unique fighting challenges. Jolteon was good and useful before Raikou came out. Blaziken I used for the 6 unique fighting one. Focus Blast, decent move, but high chance of wasted energy because you might not be able to get it off in time. And then I maxed out 5 Gengars. And Gengars was like one of my most favorite Pokemon to use in Alakazam and in Gengar raids. Unfortunately, those raids don't exist currently, but they were a lot of fun. And actually, one of the most fun solo raids I did was against using 4 Gengars. I can't remember 3 or 4 Gengars, right? But actually, it's probably 3 against double fighting Machamp. So that was a fun one to use. One of these is very special. Please, this one, Shadow Claw, Shadow Ball. This one I evolved on the live stream before Gen 2 drop, where all the moves changed. So I got the very valuable Shadow Claw fast move, which is really great move set. It actually is like very high DPS, but not that great energy gain compared to Dark Pulse and Hex, but still does like a stupid amount of damage. It's a really great one. This is my 100% level 40 Sceptile that I powered up for the 6 unique grass Pokemon in clear against Kyogre. Good Pokemon. Leaf Blade is one of the best charge moves in the game. Very low energy wasted since it's a 3-bar move and does quite a bit of damage in a short period of time. This Venusaur I powered up when raids came out, mostly to deal with Blastoise, but it's not so useful now that I have Sceptile and Executor, but still really great Pokemon to have. This is my Houndoom that I powered up for the 6 unique challenge. I actually really like it. Snarl, Foul Play, really great dark moveset. One of the best in the game. So really useful and really helpful. Probably my MVP in my Confusion, Shadow Ball, and Confusion Focus Blast 6 unique challenges. Then I maxed out 600% Jinx for Rayquaza duos. Man, Jinx does a ridiculous amount of damage, but so very glassy. I wish it had a little bit more HP or defense, because I believe that it could. Because when you go against Dragon Tail Outrage, you can't survive one Dragon Tail in an Outrage. If it had like a little bit more HP, it could survive that additional Dragon Tail. Because ideally, what would happen is not ideally. What sometimes happens is you switch in with Jinx. It gets hit by an Outrage, then has like a sliver of health. You can get off one Avalanche, but it gets hit by another Dragon Tail. If it had a little bit more HP, it could actually get off a second Avalanche, because one Outrage powers up a full Avalanche charge move. Unfortunately, you can't get it off. It's just not possible. So these are some 100% Jinx. Level 40. This is my Poliwrath. This is actually one of the most, this is during the Halloween event, I believe. Yeah, this is the Halloween event. And I remember I'd go plus Poliwag, and I remember I was like, oh my gosh, this is 100% Poliwag. For whatever reason, I was appraising that Pokemon at that particular point in time. And then a couple of my friends that I was with, Jordan, Justin, I believe Taz as well, they all ran back to find the Poliwag, and they caught the 100% one, and it was cool. I powered up to like level 35 back then, and then ended up being not so useful after the CP and the stat change. But I powered up again for the 6 unique fighting Pokemon, and it's kind of a fun one to use. It's very tanky against like Fire Blast, for example. So really cool one to have. 100% Breloom that I powered up. Yeah, so Breloom, great Pokemon, and hits very hard, but very glassy. So it's good against. I really wanted to do 6 unique fighting against Ninetales. Unfortunately, I need to have Faint Attack Solar Beam to be the easiest one to do that, and I didn't end up having it before Ninetales disappeared. And 100% Victory Bell that I powered up for the 6 unique grass Pokemon. Really great moveset, Razor Leaf Solar Beam, one of the best, and yeah, really useful. The C-Dot I powered up. I was hoping to use it against Alakazam. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to use it. Faint Attack Foul Play, really great moveset, has decent attack stats, so I powered up. But that really, Shadow Claw, Shadow Ball, obviously one of the most OP movesets in the game. It's just a ghost type, so really kind of a cool one to have, and really fun to use. Very glassy though, very glassy. I think I used it against my Confusion Shadow Ball, and then it switched in and got like one-shotted by it, but still really useful. as you can see by these lower CP Pokemon, they're much more glassy. I think it's the last one. Yep, that is the last one. This is Sharpedo. Sharpedo, I used it for two purposes. One, I used it against 6 unique water Pokemon against Ninetales, and then as well, I used it against 6 unique. Actually, I don't think I ended up using it. I tried to use it against 6 unique Confusion Focus Blast, but I don't think I ended up doing that. But still, really, really high attack Pokemon, but it has like terrible defense. I think it's 80 defense or something. It basically can't take very many hits, if at all. So really, kind of a fun one to use, but very glassy and a decent. Bunny Crunch is not that great moveset, but Waterfall, Hydro Pump. But I like that I can use it both as my dark attacker and my water attacker, and a lot of fun to use. And you're like, oh my gosh, I need to dodge this overheat, I need to dodge this heat wave, I need to dodge this, focus blast or shadow ball in order to survive. So that's my 100 max Pokemon with 10 mil dust left over. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you guys want me to do other face cam videos, let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Pogo King, that's King King, on Twitter, and then I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Thank you.